surrounding property. The appraisers are coming out under a lot of attack and are having to provide a lot more information now. As Berea developer Mary Eipert said, I think we have a right to expect to not live next to farm animals when you buy property in the city. Kenny had a young couple with children approach him about renting the home. After walking through the house, they proceeded outside to view the yard. There was lengthy discussion about the neighbor's yard, items strewed about, and questionable items. They also had been told by someone that these neighbors had wanted chickens. Their conclusion was, if the yard looked like that now, what would it look like with the chickens? He lost a good prospect and money from rent when these people decided not to go there. Now, Kenny was in end of December, 1st of January. The lady did not talk to Kenny about the original request or the appeal for the chicken coop. I don't know if that would exactly change his mind, but an effort to be a good neighbor and come and talk and explain the pros and cons from both sides would have been nice. They have his contact information. He was next door for quite a few days. They had the opportunity. And I'm believing, I know Ms. Johnson said that they had not been approached or talked to, and Mr. Johnson said he wasn't either. At the last meeting, she said that she wanted some eggs and wanted to be a good neighbor. Kenny, I want to say that Kenny and Mr. Johnson and them have tried to be patient with various things that have gone on there in trying to be a good neighbor. I think the first consideration was that they had just moved in and maybe it was going to take time to clean up the moving process. When she said that she just wanted to be a good neighbor, I would ask her to be considerate of your neighbors. Organic eggs can be bought for as low as $2.38 at the store. Your neighbors have come again, taken their time to come up here, and have given numerous reasons for not wanting the chickens. Their concerns of health, welfare, and safety of being homeowners should be just as much or more of a concern than just wanting chickens and eggs. There is a law of nuisance. It says that if your action is interfering with my enjoyment of my property, therefore you must stop this. There are two types. There is a private nuisance, which is loss of use or enjoyment of the property without actual invasion of that property. And a good example of that was unpleasant odors. Public nuisance has the ability to affect the health, safety, welfare, or comfort of the public. And again, an example was given was unpleasant odors, which we think would be strong coming from the coop, the chickens. In talking about some of the concerns that were brought up the last time at the last meeting, and the grass being high and the yard being unkept, after the meeting, it was 2 days later before the front yard was partially mowed. Okay, it was just the front yard and it was just partially mowed. 1 week later, finally the whole yard was mowed. Over 1 month later, the boxes were finally moved. These were wet boxes that had been sitting there. And as of today at 3 o'clock, a pile of leaves that Mr. Johnson brought up that is sitting on his property line is still there. Okay, so once this came up as attention, I go down there and I check the property on a regular basis. I walk through the house, I check things to make sure it hasn't been vandalized, there's nothing, you know, the heat's still on or whatever. I have noticed over the last 6 months that there's still a lot of things that are strewed about the yard, things that are not kept, and I understand that this is time of year, winter, where things don't look so pretty and things are dead, but it's a continuing, you know, unkept area. I also know that once the initiative was taken to come back and bring this matter again, that things did start to get picked up. There was a mattress or something that laid on the curb for 3 weeks. It was here when Kenny was here in January. I left to go to Atlanta on the 20th December, and it was laying there. No one knew what was going on. There is a mattress leaning against the house at this time, but I honestly don't know if it's the same one or what. But it was laying on the curb and on the street. There is also a pile of something down at the fence line at the back of the property because they have put up the fence. I didn't climb it, I didn't go over onto their property, but it looked like apple peelings or discarded food or something like that. Now there's looks like pine needles and stuff covering it up since I was there Wednesday and they noticed that I was there. You know, that no one has brought that up and complained. They're again trying to be a good neighbor. But Chapter 50 nuisances under what, the Berea Code or something, talks about accumulations of decayed animals or vegetable matter, trash, rubbish, rotting lumber, bedding, packing material, scrap metal, or any material whatsoever in which flies, mosquitoes, disease-carrying insects, rodents, or other vermin may breed or may reasonably be expected to breed. So I guess what I want to say is, you know, there's the concern, the health concern, the property value, the smell, trying to entertain people in your backyard with barbecue or whatever, and what these neighbors will have to put up with. Also, the other thing that I want to bring up is that 6 months ago we brought a lot of stuff to your all's attention, and just in the last few weeks have they been really addressed. Hence, you know, coming up here to this. So if it takes her that long when something is brought up at a meeting like this to be attentive to, how long is it going to take, you know, if we have a problem with these chicken coops and unsanitary conditions? Thank you for your time.
Mr. Johnson, I know you're a property owner. Is there any other property owners here? Okay.
My boss is here.
Well,
My name's Robert Johnson. I live 124 Adams, right next door to him. First off, when that swimming pool broke, it'd be like a water main in your front yard breaking. It's chlorine is all that goes in the pool. Kids in there swimming and you know, inhaling it, drinking whatever. It did break. About 18,000 gallons went down, not all in her yard, part of it. But, you know, accidents happen. And I didn't put it back until I'm going to this March because I didn't want to have to mess with it during the winter. But we've lived, I don't know how long they've lived there. I've spoke to them as going by, but they've never come over, and I have never went over. I've spoke to them, but If I didn't get their mail